Hi guys, welcome back to Investing with A. I hope you're all good and keeping well. So I'm going to be starting a video series where I break down books that I read and give you the lessons slash takeaways that I have gathered. This month's book is Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I'll see you after the intro. Lesson 1. The rich don't work for their money. If we look at increases in income, they tend to go to entrepreneurs, business owners, and investors, not really employees, so to speak. I mean, if we look at the National Office of Statistics, starting with 2008, the wages roughly were around 520. If we look as in May of 2019, they've actually decreased. Adjusting for inflation, we'll go over what inflation is later on, but adjusting for inflation, decreased down to 504. We also know the more you work, the more you earn, the more taxes you pay. On average, if we take this salary right here, average UK salary of 31,461, on average, a person would be working 3 months in a year just to cover the taxes. I know what you're thinking, this can't be true, but let's head over to the spreadsheet and we'll do the calculations over there. Here we are on my income tax spreadsheet. What I've done beforehand is inputted the UK average salary into the yearly amount to work out how much income tax I will be paying, the national insurance amount they will be paying, and again, assuming you have a student loan, I have inputted it in there also. So now if we go over back to the start, we can see the total amount that you will be paying in national insurance, income tax, and loan repayments is £7,111. Yearly take home pay after all of the expenses and all of the tax, you'll be left with 24,350. If we take this number and divide it by this number as a percentage, we get 23. 23 is roughly 25. 25% of a year is a quarter of a year, which is 3 months. That solidifies my previous statement that was made about an average person works around 3 months a year just to pay their taxes. Okay, so what do wealthy people actually do? Wealthy people tend to own corporations, businesses, and if you're in the UK, limited companies, whereas employees just work for their money. There's a big difference in terms of tax. So businesses slash corporations actually earn their money, they spend their money back into their businesses, then they pay tax on the rest, whereas employees actually earn their money, and we know anyone that's worked at a job, we see that hefty deduction at the end of every month on our pay slips in terms of tax, and we get to spend the rest. Lesson 2. Savers are losers. Now I know what you're thinking, guys. How can anyone that saves their money be a loser? So what Robert Kiyosaki was trying to get at is that people that solely save their money and have money in their bank are losers. Why? Because due to inflation, there's that magic word again, inflation and low interest rates, they don't actually earn anything in their money and actually lose the amount they have over time. Now, why is that? Because the money that we earn and the money that is circulated around the economy is actually not money and is currency. The difference is currency loses its purchasing power over time. Now, if you look at the US dollar, in 1971, it was taken off the gold standard, hence it became currency. Inflation. What does inflation mean? So we're over here at the Bank of England, and this is the inflation calculator, breaking this down for you guys. So if you take £10 in 1950, today that same £10 worth of money would cost £350. So if you take in the last 70 years, the average inflation rate has been 5.2%. Same thing for the US. If we go over and take $10 and input it here, the same period of the 70 years, that same $10 is costing us today £111. So what does this actually mean? So we'll take the example of shopping. When I was younger, guys, we used to go shopping with my mom, less so now, but when I used to go shopping, I remember getting a full trolley of shopping for no more than £50. Today, if we go shopping nowadays, that same shopping is costing us roughly £120 to £130. Has milk gotten better, or does bread taste better now? I don't think so. Therefore, the only reason things go up in price, they're either better in quality or the value of the money has decreased. I mean, there is a difference between a Nike trainer and a Fila trainer, for example, because the quality, the brand is better. But if we just take in food and we're comparing, bread does not taste any better than it does today than it did 15 years ago. Lesson 3. So if you made it this far, guys, I must be doing something right. So do us a favor, like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me and the channel out. So lesson 3. Your house is not an asset, it is a liability. What is an asset and what is a liability? An asset is something that puts money into your pocket, and a liability is something that takes money out. So we got examples of assets: real estate, stocks, bonds, intellectual property, and commodities. Right, now you're probably thinking, a house is real estate, it is property, why is that not a asset? It's not an asset because if we go into liabilities, we see a mortgage along with consumer loans and credit card is counted as a liability. So if you have a house, you have a mortgage in it, you pay X amount every month to the bank, that in turn takes money out of your pocket, and a house and mortgage is actually a asset to the bank. If you should have a house that is on a mortgage, but you let that out to someone, you pay the mortgage and you're left with something every month, that would be classed as an asset. So what rich people or people that are wealthy tend to do is keep expenses low, reduce their liabilities, and diligently build a base of assets. Lesson 4 is becoming financially self-reliant. How do we do that? Number 1, and most important, is actually watch the channel. Learn how to budget, because it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. I have a budgeting video also that I have done in the past. I will link that in the description below. Live below your means, that again is how much you keep. Create a emergency fund, and most importantly, invest in your education. As we all know, guys, our channel's motto is investment in education always pays the highest return. So the fifth and final lesson, probably my favorite lesson out of Rich Dad Poor Dad, is take action. As we know, most people tend to live their life talking about getting rich or doing something, eventually getting to the end of their lives and actually regretting. The quote is actually this one: the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. And here are a couple other quotes that you can pause the video and read. Getting started is the most important thing. How would I get started? First of all, I do recommend reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. Is one of the first and probably one of the best books I've read in terms of getting your mindset and understanding the basics and fundamentals of investing. What I'm gonna do is link it below. That's it for today's video, guys. I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. And remember, an investment in education always pays the highest returns.